Daddy, we left my dream, captain in the field. I love my drink like Champions League. At the 25, it's even the only field. Man, I better be road like a Ferrari. We got a contest, I said I love of the tweet. Create my own leagues and off we compete.
Running on though, here's Canapri, he's on a hat-trick and he's in!
This is Corner Flag Talk.
Welcome everybody back to another episode of the Pundit FPL. For everybody that's here right now, I would like to let you all know first and foremost that we have transitioned over to YouTube. We will no longer be doing lives for the foreseeable future, and now we will be transitioning to pre-recorded episodes, okay? So now that that's out of the way, in the interest of time, I would like John to introduce himself, and then we can get the show started.
Hey guys, thanks for understanding the change in scenery. What happened is that our schedules just don't really line up at the moment for us to be able to do them live. So for the interest of us continuing to bring content for you guys, we are recording these things in the wee hours of the morning so that you guys have content. So for the foreseeable future, we'll be starting to put question boxes on our Instagram at RPM, Fantasy PL, and we want you guys to send in your questions there. If you want to send in your team, do that as well. We'll ask for those things daily, so feel free to send them in, and we'll try our best to continue what we were doing at the beginning of the season, having 2 shows for the week. But we need the national break now, so let's get it.
Right, yeah. So I mean, what better time to start than to start right after a blank game week, you know? So always drama, you know, in the FPL, and we gonna review my team here. So the fact that we gonna be reviewing my team, yes, you know, that means that your boy has trumped John this week, you know, by 1 point, might I add, but we managed to get 39 points this week, and I would say it was a somewhat successful week for me. You know, the average was 25, I got 39. However, in terms of overall rank, that didn't really help me too much. I guess everybody around me just happened to do better than me, you know? So I didn't really see much of a green arrow, not much of a red, just kind of stayed around the same area, you know, but that's kind of how it goes, you know? I'm going to start. You know, elephant in the room. My team is not up on the screen right now, but I think that's okay. I'm gonna try my best to walk you all through it, and hopefully in future episodes we'll be able to sort that out for you all. Okay, so you know, in goal I had Emi Martinez, 1 point. Can't really say too much about that, you know. The thing with Emi is that when he blanks, I don't really care because the man has just been so fantastic for me throughout the entire season anyway, that I feel like 1 or 2 blanks, I shouldn't really be too hurt about it. Well, what do you think, John?
I think if it was anybody in this entire league this season, I was going to save Harry Kane's pen. Dog, I actually had faith in him to do it. Like, I actually had some faith in him. But obviously, Harry Kane is the master for this spot. Yeah, I totally agree with that assessment because I too have had Emi Martinez for the longest while. I've been one of those to benefit from it ever increasing price. And I think that he has been a fantastic return, especially when you consider that in a lot of ways that he's a differential. And he says that he is somebody outside of the normal big clubs that you get to look at to put in your team so that you can keep those spots open for a lot more premium players in the league. And I think that, you know, it was against Spurs. It wasn't always going to be easy for them. And to be fair, actually watching how the game went, that they might have been unlucky to have conceded in the first place, and then even the penalty was a really tough call to make at the same time. So it wasn't necessarily his fault or anything like that.
Yeah, exactly. And as we're on the topic of taking some L's in defense, you know, I also had in Kufal and Dallas in my backline as well. You know, Kufal obviously conceded 3 goals to Arsenal and got himself a yellow card as well. So he finished with a nice round 0 points. And then Stuart Dallas, yeah, I thought that Leeds had a good game, but they managed to concede once, and you know, once you concede once as a defender, it's kind of hard to make a comeback from that one, you know. So Kufa 0 points, Dallas 2 points, and a blank game week. Honestly, not too bothered about it. But John, if you want to give me your thoughts about that, go ahead.
I actually have Ely in one of my drafts, and I saw that he scored.
Right.
I was so happy though. I was so bloody happy though, and then they took it away. But yeah, I'm actually one of the few men that have really benefited from this Leeds game today on the day, sorry. And it was really, I actually didn't see them conceding. Like in all my drafts, I brought in a lot of their defenders because I thought that while they do tend to be a lot open, you know, Fulham haven't been really clinical in front of goal, and I didn't really see them scoring. And when the clean sheet went away, I was really, really surprised. On the other hand, with Kufal, even being an Arsenal fan, I was kind of surprised with their fight back and for them to be able to score 3. I really did that, especially 30th minute, and given how good actually that West Ham have been from the back, I didn't think that they would have gone to ship 3. So I understand. At the end of the day, this game week wasn't necessarily about if this player is a good fixture, but rather is he was playing, and just kind of hope for the best from there. And
Right.
I was one of those that when you're coming up against good opposition, just like Emmy, just like Cressler, that there is the potency for them to lose the clean sheet and had a claw back in other ways.
Yeah, exactly. Moving on to the other players in my defense, and I had just two centre backs now. In Davinson Sanchez and Lewis Dunk. I was just telling you off camera that I think I make a big no in taking Dunk over Veltman. Veltman ended up getting 4 points over the man. Obviously he managed to get a weight assist, just a long ball forward, and then he got a bonus point as well. I took Lewis Dunk. I'll take the L there, but it's not too much of an L because he still managed to get 6 points, just like Davinson Sanchez. So 2 cases of 2 centre backs with 6 points in the back there. Nothing too serious, but obviously I'm very happy for it. And it kind of had a takeaway you could get in a game week like this one, So I'm not going to talk too much more about the defense. I'm now going to move into the midfield where I had Rafinha, Grealish, and Bale for a combined effort of 8 points. Yeah.
Rafinha!
Exactly. I got to start off with Grealish, who honestly, he'd been in my team for like eight games now, right? Yes, I took a massive L on Grealish. But the fact is that I had him already, So was I going to transfer out Grealish for somebody else when I know that Aston Villa is playing in this game week? Well, no, I was obviously going to keep him and just hope that he plays. Obviously, he didn't. And now we're looking at the return to be after the international break finishes. I plan on keeping him in my team. At some point, he had to come good for me, So, enough about that guy. And now moving on to Bale. Bale is somebody that actually transferred into my team. I took out Raheem Sterling to bring Gareth Bale in, expecting him to start. In the midweek game at the time against Dynamo Zagreb, the man did not start. He came on. I think he came on around the 60th minutes. Obviously, finished the game. But I thought that the man would have enough energy to go ahead and start on the weekend again. Obviously, I was wrong, as he started on the bench and finished on the bench and wrapped up 0 points. Absolutely nothing from Gareth Bale. But Rafinha, however, that's somebody that me and John both have in our teams, and I'm going to let John talk about this guy for a little bit.
Yeah, so I actually, it's really funny and really not to segue too much, but myself and Daniel in this group chat that we was talking about this week, about the most important players for each Premier League side. And there has been a really strong argument towards Rafinha becoming the most important player for Leeds, especially in the second half of the season, as they try to finish the top half of the table on their return to the Premier League. I think that he tends to be at the center of everything now going forward, especially given that he takes a lot of these set pieces, he takes the corners, he takes the free kicks, and there's a lot of potency for returns. When you look at his evolving the relationship that he has with Bamford going, then those reports start to come forward even more. And you can tell, like, for those who aren't just FPL players, but for those who actually watch him, you can tell he's a lot more comfortable in the league. He feels like he could free up a lot more, and he's been expressing himself more. And those returns have been coming to an extent, but even those that haven't been coming actually haven't been down to him entirely. Like when we look at the double game week that he had, he should have walked away with like 5 assists in that double game week, and that isn't even an exaggeration. It's just players just didn't want to score the chances that he was creating. So I think that he's a fantastic asset to have at the moment. Even when you look at Leeds' form, yes, it might be a bit patchy, but his form is far from being shaky. His FPL form might not be easy to trust, but as a the French are going to these last couple of weeks, it might be somebody rather that you're looking to bring into
yes. Yeah, 100% agree. And as we're talking about essential players to have and people who just bang in form right now, I'm going to talk about my captain, Harry Kane, who managed to convert a penalty and get a bonus point to take him on to 7. Double that, we get 14. So 14 points from my captain. And as I usually say, when you do have a good captain, you tend to have a good game week. I only had 7 players that returned for me this week, out of the 10 that were supposed to play, 3 of them got zeros. So all that being said, I still managed to get, how much is that? Like 13 points over the game week average. So again, it usually comes down to the captain. You have a good captain, you usually have a good game week. I don't know how much more that I can hammer that home for all the viewers. But hopefully we can just keep proving it for you all, and keep making good captains and keep having good game weeks. Enough about Harry Kane though. The other player that I had up there was Ollie Watkins. Quiet day for him. I'm gonna let John tell us about Ollie Watkins moving forward.
Really hard to keep trusting him going forward because while I do think that he's a really good player, it's just that this season the Robert Green kind of hasn't been with him. And ever since Grealish kind of has been on the team, he's actually been finding himself having to go wider and wider to try and receive the ball, and he's being less and less box. And us as FPL owners, we don't want that from our strikers, especially. I think that until Grealish is back, man, I do think that Aston Villa outfield assets just aren't it.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, that actually wraps us up when it comes to talking about my team. Yes, we are flying, but that is how pre-recorded episodes are going to be. So please get accustomed to it. Moving on, I know that as this being the first episode and whatnot, we can put any question boxes and stuff, but I'll try to anticipate some of the questions that you all might ask, or somebody what I call FAQ, frequently asked questions, that some people might have, and I'm going to attempt to get some answers out of John today. All right, so first of all, I'm gonna ask John. Obviously, going into the blank game week, some people still had their free hit and they were contemplating if now is the time to use it, or if later on, when there's a possible double game week, will be the time to use it, right? Obviously, we know that there was a fair mixture of people going into this game week. Some using their free hit, some who did not use their free hit, some who took maybe a couple -4s, maybe a -8, maybe even a -12, some who just took nothing. What do you think was the way to go for game week 29? Free hit or no free hit from what you've seen so far?
The way, because I think that there's one possible double game week coming up, and that would be when the Spurs and Man City games get postponed due to the EFL Cup involvement. However, the thing is, right, is that for the most part, you would kind of have the assets from those teams that you would have wanted anyway, But you kind of have the City assets regardless of double game week or not. And for Spurs, I would like to think that most men have Kane, and also if you want to take somebody, fine, you just transfer them in for that game. But that's kind of it. So looking outside of that now, I think that it has been a free hit for this game week. And I think that when you look at the people you have looked to bring in, a lot of people have looked at Lingard and Mikel Antonio for sure, and clearly they've returned. They would have not really. I don't think anybody have looked at Lacazette, honestly. Even though he definitely also returned as well. Not Chambers, who was another one who returned. Well, looking across even the Leeds, we talk about Rafinha and Bamford. Bamford, who was my captain, definitely huge returns you're looking at. When you look at Leeds, Brighton, you actually pick up a Brighton defender, you got a clean sheet, you pick up a defender, which most of people would have done for this free hit, you would have gotten a clean sheet as well. So I think that there was obvious decisions to be made across this free hit that would have paid off substantially, And I think that there's little, when I look at, points ratio rather of what you can get between the potential double game week and now, is that most people this game week would have gotten low. Obviously, the average is 25. So if you're an average of 25 game week, you might actually hit up a regular score of 50, 60, something like that. It's a boost compared to the double game week, where I think, again, like we say, most people are going to players regardless. So they are going to get to those points regardless. So I think that there was more benefit to be gained in using your free hit now, if you still had it, rather than, later on in the match days.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I didn't agree with you so much, because then we could actually have like a discussion here. But the fact is that I 100% agree. So can't really talk too much more about that. Something that he did mention though was two West Ham attackers in Mikel Antonio and Lingard, right? Jay Lings. And that actually brings me into the second question that I thought people might want to ask: is West Ham's attack becoming fixture proof? What would you say about that? Because we just saw them take on Arsenal, who I think is a good defense. And in the first half, they was already 3-0 up.
So what I would say is that this was one of the few times, and I said this on the show today, coming out tomorrow, same day with this, is that I think that's one of the few games that I think Arteta actually really messed up the lineup. You know, he put Oba out on the right wing, somewhere that he's never played for Arsenal before. He put back Saka on the left wing with Tierney on left back. That's two left-footed players who wouldn't want to dominate the line. It was really hard for us to get structure going forward to build up. Oba offers nothing in the build-up. And Saka and Tierney kind of cancel out each other by getting into each other's spaces. And that allowed for West Ham to be compact, to be able to stay back. And just hit on the counter a lot of times. One of the goals came from a goal kick from Arsenal where they couldn't get the second ball, but the other two were because Arsenal could have, catched themselves. After that third goal went in, though, is that when Arteta changed things back around and it was a lot more in Arsenal's favor. Obviously, at that point, they were over attacking and they were chances for West Ham on the counter, but it was nothing really that substantial with the exception. I think it was one chance for Antonio. But all is for me to say that I think that in some sense of scoring 3 goals is not an anomaly. But I do think that they are a substantial attacking threat from them to say that they are relatively fixture-proof because with the exception of Man City, I don't see who they can possibly go up against. You don't expect them to win. And if I am not mistaken, they've played Man City twice already. So I think that there are very few fixtures that I don't favor them to score. I think that the budding relationship between Mikel Antonio and Lingard is really proven fruitful. And I think that those are two players that, even at a price point, that you could be looking to get huge returns from with respect to points return per price spend kind of thing,
Right. Yeah, I definitely agree with that as well. And hopefully we could explore this a little bit more when we go into a wildcard video. As we're talking about wildcard though, the last question that I wanted to ask is when should we start thinking about wildcards? And I'm gonna listen to a little bit about you, and then I have my 2 cents to throw in as well. But if you had to pinpoint a game week to use the wild card, which one would you say is around the best time to do that?
So, I would say use it as late as it could while still maintaining maximum effectiveness of using it. While I say late as it could, is that game week 30, you have good fixtures for your players, then obviously don't use it. If 31, you also still have good fixtures, or maybe just one transfer to make, then probably still don't use it. But you want to have maximum room that when you use your wild card, it is literally just one move every week that you might need to make, that you probably don't even need to make, but just in case that you might need to make maybe an injury come up or suspension, something like that, So as much as you could hold off on using it while obviously not leaving it for game week 35, 36, something like that, unless you really want to, try your best to push it back as much as you could. Given how my team is looking, I am currently looking at game week 31. I'd possibly using mine because I have good fixtures next week, and then after that, I'll do wild card.
Yeah. Glad that you mentioned game week 31 because that's actually my favorite time to use the wild card. That is the recommended game week that I'm gonna have to give you all. The reason for that is because in game week 31 we see a lot of fixture swings happening. What I mean by that is that teams that previously had bad game weeks coming up now looking like they have good games coming up, and vice versa. Teams that we would have had a lot of before, maybe like Man City and whatnot, United, that had a lot of good games in the past, and we had like maybe 2 or 3 players from each of those teams each. Now we're seeing a lot of red fixtures coming up, so we might want to switch out maybe 4, 5, 6, even 7 players at a time. A good benchmark to recognize if you need to use your wild card is if you could go to your team and figure out that, okay, maybe it have 5, 6, even 7 players that are not really feeling right now, and I would like to get them out as soon as possible. That's a good sign that you should be using your wild card, So that's a decision that you all will have to make. But I do believe that most of us have a similar team. I'm not saying it's going to be exactly the same, but it's similar. We have some of the same players and whatnot. And in saying that, if you've been watching the show for a long time, I think game week 31 going to be a nice time to use it. I would like to also try to stay clear of using it and and then make transfers in 31 with your wild card, okay? And I hope that you all agree with me as well. I can't really hear you right now.
Oh, I thought that's a really good point.
Okay. Nice. Thanks. yeah. Aside from that, game week 34 could be another good time to use your wild card. If you go and have a look at the fixtures in game week 34, you're going to see that a lot of the big clubs, aside from, I want to say, Arsenal and, well, I forget the other one. Okay, but I think Arsenal is playing one of the other top 6 teams in that week. But you said Chelsea?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, aside from that, I think all the other top teams, even West Ham was not who I would say our top team right now. They just have easy games in that week. So if you want to plan for a little thing in 34.
That James Madison should be back after the international break. And
okay,
if that is true, then I do expect, granted, obviously Leicester remain injury free with regards to everybody else. I do expect Leicester to kind of pick back up with a run for the top 4.
Right. Yeah. But I think that's enough for today. That's all I got to mention about wildcards. But in the future, we should be having another. The next episode that comes out should be about just wildcards only.
Yeah.
So we will talk more about that because hey, we have everything to talk about with wildcard, right? Aside from that, everybody, thank you for coming out. Thanks for continuing to support. Yeah, subscribe. You're on YouTube now. Subscribe. Right. I like that. Okay.
Share with someone.
That, yeah, the episode is finished, and we hope to see you all soon. And we hope to iron everything out. Aside from that, John, if you want to, do your thing.
Next time. Take it easy. Later.